Okay, folks, you've seen all the other videos on repairing your Porter Cable air nailer or possibly other air nailer, but this one's specific to the Porter cables right here. You'll find plenty of videos where they take the cap off, they take the piston out, they evaluate and possibly replace O-rings, possibly lubricate, do all kinds of things, you know. These videos are usually predicated by them saying, hey, you know, if your air gun won't fire a nail, but you hear leaking and hissing when it's plugged into air and all that, then this is what you should do. And there's probably a dozen of those videos on the internet. Well, what if that's not what's wrong with your Porter Cable nailer? I encountered that frustration when, over time, I've used this nailer quite a bit. I mean, I've gotten my money's worth out of it, but at this point there is no leaking. It's not making any leaking noises. If you heard a leak noise there, it was actually from my connector a little bit. But what I am going to do is pull the trigger. And it's not firing a nail because I don't have the safety tip to press, but you can hear that there's a good leak going on right there. Now, let's just put it against this board. In fact, I could put it against my hand because I'm good and sure that it's not going to fire, trust me. And when this started to happen, I could bang it around, I could thump on it, I could, you know, and I could get another nail or two out of it, but very quickly it got to the point where like nothing you can do is going to make it dispense a nail. But it doesn't leak while it's just sitting there, only when you pull this trigger. I actually found the answer on Amazon. So I was reading through the reviews, just kind of looking at you know, when you type in this nailer, what comes up, you know, and people were buying this part. So, do a little unboxing here. This is it. And what it was is this is the trigger valve, which, you know, considering that it seems to be leaking through the trigger, that makes perfect sense. So this little unit right here was $16 on Amazon Prime, and I'm doing this video in real time, so I don't know what's going to happen when I put it in there, but I'm just about certain that this is going to be a drop-in fix for this based on the reviews that I saw people write. They were like, these are the symptoms, put one of these in, it's fixed. Okay. So, and there were a lot of those reviews. So, great. So, disconnect this guy. Now, this is a really easy swap out. I mean, I'm literally doing this blind without having even watched a video of somebody doing it. I just saw the part, understood how it was installed, and said, okay, let's do it. So hopefully I won't look too stupid. All we're gonna need to do this is we're gonna need a punch set, the world's manliest hammer, and one beer. So what we're gonna do is we're going to take the appropriate size punch and take off the trigger. Weirdly on these, the sequential trigger is red, but the bump trigger is black. If you were to replace this trigger with the bump trigger, and that is super weird to me. I would think it would be the other way around. Anyway, we apparently have an E-clip right here that is the actual hinge pin, and with the discovery of that, I abandoned any hope of doing this video without an edit. But on the plus side, you might be able to get to see me shoot an E-clip all the way across my garage, never to be recovered. Wow. Okay, not an E-clip, just a little retainer type thing. See if you can see that. It's just a little round retainer. I think it's plastic even. Okay, all right. Not as hard as I was making it. Okay, so we take out the pin and remove the trigger. Ooh, and parts fall out. That's always good. I think that's just the spring for the trigger. Okay, so yeah, that just goes on there. All right, we'll get back to that. So now you've just got the trigger valve right in there, and you've got two roll pins here and here, so let's just tappy tap tap. Okay. Be sure to get the punch stuck. It's part of the repair. Good job. Okay, next one. Yeah, when your punch is too big the first time, make sure the second time. All right. Okay. Amazing how the appropriate size punch makes that so much more fun. All right. Okay. So at this point, we've taken a long and a short roll pin out of there. And bloop, there it comes. Okay, so I gotta be honest, I don't see anything wrong with the old one except for that it has red grease and the new one seems to have some kind of green grease. Other than that, do not see any obvious differences in them, but well, let's put it this way. If this doesn't work, you're never going to see this video. So, all right, so now we'll put it back in, and we just kind of, there's only one way it'll fit in, and it just popped right in there. Just popped right in there, it was no big deal. All right, so put the short roll pin back. We'll put the long roll pin back. Dab it, dab it, dab it. Let's recess those a little bit, like they were. Yep, perfect. Okay, great. Okay, now I get to figure out how the trigger goes back in. I probably should not have taken the roll pin out of the trigger. So note to future people who do this, that probably was not the right move. Only this pin needed to be taken out, and then all of its little spring and assembly doodad in there would not have come apart, and I don't think it needed to come apart to do this. So if you do this, be aware that that is not required. Okay, well, I'm just gonna try to put it back together anyway. Let's see what I get. Okay, maybe not. Right. You gotta love it when the hardest part of a job is like straightening out the idiocy that you perpetrated on yourself. All right, that's it. Pretty sure that's how that's supposed to go. Nope. All right, so now let's try to plug it in. All right. I'd say that's it. Aside from the embarrassing trigger interlude, it is fixed. So if you have a DA250 series and it doesn't leak, but when you plug it in and you pull the trigger, nothing happens but a little hissing noise, then you know, this is most likely your problem. $16 fix would have taken 5 minutes if I had not taken this pin out of the trigger. Take this one out, don't take this one out. Yeah, easy. So, Merry Christmas to me. All right, y'all have a good holiday. Everybody, hope you enjoy.